Good day, everyone. My name is Michelle Rublico Carbajal, and today I am going to report the topic about principles derived from Thorndike's connectionism. So when we say Thorndike's connectionism, it refers to the theory of learning and behavior that was proposed by Edward Thorndike, an American psychologist in the late 19th and 20th century. So this theory posits that all behavior is a connection between the stimulus and the response. So when we say stimulus, it is any events or objects in the environment that trigger the response of an individual. So these can include the sensory inputs such as the sights, the smell, the sounds, the touch, and the tastes. So the connection between the stimulus and the response is a connection between the consequences of the behavior. So there are four principles of Thorndike's connectionism. First, we have learning requires both practice and rewards, or laws of effects or exercise. So in learning, it often requires both practice and rewards. So for practice, it helps to reinforce the neural pathways associated with particular skills and knowledge, while rewards, it provides motivations and reinforcement for a desired behavior or outcome. So these two can contribute to the process of learning and behavior change. So the law of effects or exercise also states that the behavior that is being followed by the positive consequences is more likely to be repeated. However, the behavior that is being followed by the negative consequences is less likely to be repeated. So, for example, a common scenario in which in examination. So, before the exam, the students is being advised by their teacher to study and comprehend the lesson that is being tackled. However, it is depend on the students if they will study or not. So, in the positive consequences sides, so for example, if the students did study for the upcoming exam, then eventually he or she will get a good grade. And that he is more likely to repeat that kind of behavior in order for him to get that kind of grade again. And then that is the positive consequences side. So let's proceed to the negative consequences sides. So, for example, if the students did not study for the upcoming exam, then eventually he or she will not get a good grade, or worst, he will fail the exam. And that is the reason why the students will came up to the mindset that he will change his behavior in order for him to get a good grade in the next exam. And that all he have to do is to study and study so that in the next exam, he will pass and get a good grade. So the second principles of Thorndike's connectionism is a series of stimulus-response connections can be changed together if they belong to the same action, sequence, or the law of readiness. So the law of readiness states that the more readiness the learners responds to stimulus, the stronger the band will be in between them. So for example, the same example in the first principle. So for example, if the students did study for the upcoming exam, then eventually he will get a good grade. And that the mindset of the student is set to the idea that he will just continue the kind of behavior that he possessed in order for him to get that kind of grade again. All he have to do is to study in advance in order for him to be ready and confident when there might be an examination happen. So that is the law of readiness, the second principles of Thorndike's connectionism. So the third principles of Thorndike's connectionism, the transfer of learning occurs because of previously encountered situations. So the transfer of learning occurs when previously encountered situations or knowledge are being applied to the new or similar situations. So for example, if someone learns how to ride a bicycle, then they can transfer that learning on how to ride a motorcycle because both activities involves balance and coordination. So the transfer of learning allows individuals to apply their knowledge and skills to the new contexts, enhancing their overall learning and problem-solving abilities. So that is the third principles of Thorndike's connectionism. So the number 4 principles of Thorndike's connectionism, we have intelligence is a function of the number of connections learned. So intelligence is a complex construct that involves various factors including the number of connections learned. However, it is important to note that intelligence cannot be solely determined by the number of connections one has learned. Other factors such as cognitive abilities, problem-solving skills, and emotional intelligence can also play a crucial role in determining one's overall intelligence, not just the connections or the number of connections learned. So let's proceed to John Watson. So John Watson, he considered that humans are born with a few reflexes and the emotional reactions of love and rage. All other behavior is learned through stimulus response associations through conditioning. So John Watson believed in the power of conditioning so much that he said that if he is given a dozen of infants, he can turn them into anything you want them to be. Basically, through making stimulus response connections through conditioning. So an example of this is his experiments of the young Albert and the white rat. So in the beginning, young Albert was not afraid of the rat. However, John Watson will suddenly make a loud noise each time young Albert touches the rat. And because young Albert was frightened by the noise that is being made by John Watson, so each time he touches the rat, it was put in his mind that each time he touches the rat, he can hear the loud noise or the sudden loud noise that is being made by John Watson. So that is the reason why young Albert was afraid of the rat. So that is the stimulus response through conditioning means that the stimulus is that whenever young Albert touches the rat, so the response of John Watson is making a sudden loud noise. So that is the reason why young Albert became afraid of the rat. Not just the rat, but the other small animals.